I'd like to introduce Nina Stephenson-Camps, a conscious mindset coach and former EMEA customer advocacy program lead of Google Cloud. With over 20 years experience in the marketing and comms industry, working for brands such as Nestle, P&G, Unilever, Diageo, and Ford, and for organizations including Microsoft, Ogilvy, and Google Cloud, Nina understands pressure and brain power required to successfully navigate the fast-paced environments with grace while leading and inspiring teams to deliver great work. Now, she's taking those experiences and now, as a conscious mindset coach, devises techniques and approaches where she shares through themed workshops, private coaching, and mindset audio bundles to really enable her clients to level up their creativity and leadership prowess. So now on to Steve and Nina.
Amazing. Hi, Nina. How are you?
Very good. Thank you so much for inviting me to join this panel. It's been brilliant listening to Lydia and Sarah. Great.
Yeah, it's been really insightful, and thank you again for sharing one of your mindfulness sessions. We'll share everyone with a link to your mindfulness website after the session. But let's turn back to put on your other hat, because obviously we've worked together for quite a long time, and really built a fantastic relationship. And I think that's where I wanted to start the conversation around how you've managed to foster really authentic relationships with agencies, and really how you went about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I've obviously had the benefit of working client side and agency side. So I've had lots from an agency perspective. I've had lots of experiences, lots of colourful experiences, shall we say. And so, you know, I learned a lot from that, although at the time there were, you know, certain challenges. And it was those experiences that really inspired me to take a very different approach when it came to me working with agencies. And in my experience, the more respect and the more the more respect for the creative process and the individuals creates a better experience for all parties. And I think that, you know, there's a lot to be said for people understanding the importance of applying emotional intelligence to these situations. So, you know, the opportunity or the commitment to reflect, to self-regulate, and to really ensure that everyone is on the same boat at the same time. So for me, fostering open communication was really important from the get-go, really. And in my experience, you just get so much more out of the team, and it's fun as well. And I think, you know, we spend so much time at work, and there's a lot of pressure, and that's not going to go away. But knowing that you're all in it together and there is that trusted relationship really helps to navigate. And also, you know, from a solution perspective, the sort of safer you feel, so to speak, the more open you are to different inspirations and therefore different solutions. So I just think it's a win for everyone, really.
Going back to your sort of from the agency side, it's around, you know, and this is something that we discussed earlier, but it's around making sure that the right people are on the boat, and making sure that we've got the right skill sets that are required to, you know, for each project. Because, you know, whether that's the project management side or the creative side or the social strategy side, it's about, well, once we really understand where the boat's going, we can make sure that right people are on board for our clients, and helping them get to, you know, like we were talking about just earlier with Sarah, it's really understanding what our clients' needs are, what their KPIs are, where they're heading, and how we can really build the right team to help you sort of get to where you need to get to. And I'd love for you to share some advice on creating, you know, a really sort of smooth process from your side. And really, one of the things that we really worked on with you is the whole briefing piece and how we can really get under the skin of a great brief. And if you have had any thoughts or advice that you could share, that would be great.
Sure. Well, but first and foremost, I always say this to you, but I do love your briefing process. So just to say that again, but there's sort of like 2 points I'd like to make here. From a client perspective, creating an environment so that your agency partners feel, and I keep using the word safe, but it really is that, feel sort of safe enough and trusted enough to ask the right questions. You know, sometimes, and certainly I've experienced this from clients previously, there's there's been like an irritation at the number of questions, and I'm a great believer in if you don't get the right result, it's because, or you don't get the result you're looking for, it's because your brief hasn't been detailed enough. You know, because for all intents and purposes, people, generally speaking, do not listen. They wait for a pause so that they can say what they want to say, and that's where the miscommunication can arise. And you hear it so many times, oh, I said that, and all the rest of it, but more often than not, people aren't necessarily hearing what you're saying, and different words mean different things to different people. You know, it's a bit like cleanliness, you know, it just means different, it means different things to different people. So creating that environment where people feel, where, you know, the agency team feel, you know, safe enough to ask those questions, I think is really important. And again, from an agency perspective, you know, the onus is on both parties really, is also to be brave enough to set the scene for that. You know, sometimes you need to lead the client in that way. And I think it's being confident enough to take that leadership role, if you will, during the briefing process, because everyone has so many different experiences when it comes to briefings and briefs. You know, some people just like to write it and that's it. Some people like to, you know, to actually write the brief and then go through it. You know, it's very different, you know, for lots of different people. And also sometimes there can be quite a lot of pressure in the briefing process as well, actually, from both parties to get it right, you know, to get it right the first time. And I think there's a lot to be said, again, for allowing that process to evolve and being comfortable with that. So you might not get the right, it might not be right the first time, but there's a way to kind of move through that and to allow that creative process to evolve rather than to be quite stringent with it. So, because creativity isn't linear, is it? So
yeah, and it's that, I think for us it's that collaboration piece that's so important. It's that, you know, we're you know, if we're joined up as a team and we are working as a team, we're collaborating, it's only going to be a stronger brief, which will end up in a strong, you know, with a stronger story. And I really feel like our clients, customers, really feel you know, they can feel when we're all synced up, you know, and they have a much better experience. And, you know, so often we'll get an email from one of, you know, for example, Google's customers, and they'll mistake us for a Googler, and they'll be asking questions that are way out of our pay grade, and we have to politely sort of explain that, you know, we're from the agency, and then, you know, reintroduce the client. But for us, in a way, that's a mark of success, that we are working together as a team. And, you know, we're always treating our clients, customers with you know, kid gloves. We want them to have the best experience. We want them to love the process. We want them to love the content. And, you know, we love it when we produce a piece of content. You know, it happened with Gant a little while back when they emailed us and said, oh, we love our content so much, can you cut it up and so we can put it across our socials, which to us was a real mark of success. And obviously, you know, then that helps, you know, with our clients' relationships and the sales team, etc. I also wanted to ask around, you know, building, you know, that team of complementary skill sets, and how you've gone about that previously.
Yeah, so definitely having an attitude of being very honest and open with what the capabilities are, and indeed what your own capabilities are too. And again, just kind of going back to the role of emotional intelligence and having that honest kind of internal conversation with yourself in terms of what your capabilities are. And I think when you are realistic and when you're honest in that way, that is the first step in building the right team around you. Because what you don't want, whether it's from a skill set perspective, from a creative process point of view, is, you know, cookie cutter versions of you, because then you're not able to learn and grow. And so it's so important to ensure that from a skill set point of view, but also from a broader business objectives perspective, that you have the right people, you know, around the table, so to speak, and on your team. And that definitely starts with having that kind of honest assessment of where those skill sets lie and with whom.
And I think as well, you know, one of the things that we talked about sort of in our briefing was around that diversity piece, you know, and that's something that at Distillery we're very passionate about, having different points of view, and you know, when you've got you know, not that cookie sort of cutter mentality in terms of the team, you have people with different experiences and skill sets and backgrounds, then, you know, that really helps push that level of creativity further, create more compelling content, really push the boat out a little bit further. And it's sort of my job to foster that, the ability for different voices within the business to be heard. Another thing that I wanted to touch on, Nina, was around how you evangelized different opportunities to engage customers within your program.
Yeah, so very much by focusing on and really understanding what their business objectives were, and also their marketing and communication objectives too, so that when we did approach them with a particular opportunity, we could ensure that it matched or mirrored their objectives too. So we didn't come from a place that was sort of self-serving, so to speak. And it's very easy to do that. And I think, you know, from a customer's point of view, it's so much more compelling when you have a partner that approaches you from a place of understanding. And therefore, you know, you're able to partner on different, you know, in different areas in a way that is so much more compelling and so much more authentic. And the audience can see that. You know, you can see, is it from a consumer perspective, you can tell straight away when a brand isn't being genuine. And so, you know, it's that intuitive trigger, if you will, that we all have. We can sense it. And so it's vital, I think, to just ensure that, you know, when you are fostering those relationships with customers and when you are approaching them with an opportunity, that it is actually reflecting, you know, the direction that they're going in as well.
Yeah, it's I think we've seen it in the past with some other clients where it's been about short-term gains, not about long-term relationships, and building those, you know, that emotional intelligence to go, well, actually, let's look past this short-term KPI that I've got, and actually let's see how I can, you know, really understand our customers' needs and where they're going and how we can support them, and thinking about the bigger picture perhaps. And I think that's something, you know, that we looked at when COVID hit, you know, in March last year, and thinking about having that intelligence to think about what our customers were going through, the changes within their business. And while our clients were perhaps putting some pressure on us, it was actually to have the ability to talk to our clients about, well, actually, let's change tact here. Let's think about what our clients are going through, what pressures they've got on, and no doubt creating a piece of content right now isn't their first priority. What else can we do? Can we do desk research so we can go to them proactively with something that's taking a lot less of their time, for example? And, you know, still with COVID and people being under different pressures, it's about that relationship building as much as the content output. Amazing. Listen, thank you so much. We're it's really great to get your insights, and thank you again for sharing the mindfulness piece with us.